What's up guys, welcome back. In the last video you would have seen the starts, it runs, it drives, everything is good. However, I found a small leak from the drain flange where the oil comes back from the turbo and goes into the oil pan. Now the reason I'm having that issue is because I used the old flange from the Aristo. Basically, the way the hoses are ran, they're slightly different. The angle is different than between the Aristo and the Supra, because one is a rear sump, one's a front sump. The Aristo is a front sump, so the hoses are ran like a slightly different orientation than the Supra. So when I use back the Aristo flange on the Supra oil pan, there's a little part of the flange that's hitting on the block of the engine. So I can't get to tighten the flange all the way like it should be. Yeah, I went and got the part. So this is, I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you the part number. And when I get on the car, I'll show you and explain better. Also, this has to be the world's most quiet Supra. It is so quiet, I can't stand it. So that's gonna change today. I'm gonna do a startup here in a second. It's the same exhaust that was on the car when I did my first walk around when it was bone stock NA style. But obviously you put turbos on there, it's even more quiet. I don't like it, and I have a HKS exhaust here that I'm gonna throw on as well. So I'm gonna do a startup. Actually, I'm gonna turn the camera around and show you the exhaust, and then I'll do a startup real briefly because I don't want the exhaust to get too hot, nor do I want the block to get hot because I'm gonna go under the engine here in a second. All right, so first things first, this is the actual oil flange that basically you bolt this onto the oil pan, sort of, I think like this orientation. So this one would be for the rear turbo drain. This would be for the front turbo drain, and this bolts onto the oil pan, the upper oil pan. So here's the part number. It's not necessarily for a Supra, it's just for any rear sump 2JZ. Regarding this quiet Kakimoto exhaust, like it looks good, it sounds good, just not loud enough. I'm gonna swap that off with this beast right here, HKS. Looks like about 4 inches all the way back here, and then up here it drops down to like a 3.5 maybe. So I'm gonna put the camera right here, do a quick startup, maybe run it for about 30-45 seconds so you can hear what that sounds like. You can see based on what I was explaining how the flange right here, this piece right here that I'm touching with the screwdriver, is meeting up against the oil pan right here. There's no space between it. So because of that, I can't tighten the flange all the way on to here like it's supposed to, because it's butt up against the oil pan right up in here. So I could easily have removed this, sand it down, or grind a little piece of this off. But the truth is, the oil lines, the rubber parts themselves, they were a little out of alignment because I was using the wrong flange. So because of that, I just decided to get the correct flange and swap it out. All right, so I got the flange off. And so this is the Aristo one, wherein you can see how the orientation is different. This is the one for the Supra / rear sump, and this is for the front sump. So if you notice, if you line them up like this, you can see how this one goes more direct to the front turbo, and where this one kicks off, it's kind of, obviously it's going in different directions. Where this clamp was, so I'm just gonna put this back here and then go put it back underneath the car. Also, I have a new gasket, and the gasket, the part number is 15472-46010. So I went back underneath the car and I realized something. Because I was using this flange, I had the hose backwards to make them work. But in fact, one is a little bit longer and one naturally came with a bend in it. So this one, the longer one, needs to be on this side, and this one with the bend goes on this side. So now I just put it back together. You can see the space between the flange and the block right here. So that's where it was binding up before, which was preventing the flange from being tightened all the way up against the oil pan. But you can see now there's a space between, so I was able to tighten it all the way. So new flange, new gasket between the two, so that should take care of that little oil leak problem. Now we're gonna move on to this exhaust, this quiet thing. It has to go. So I'm gonna set the camera up wherever I can get it to fit, and I'm gonna drop this and go grab the other one, slap that on there, and hopefully I start it up. Should definitely be louder and start somewhere like a 2J with some boost. I got the new muffler on there, so we're gonna do a startup comparison with what it was before.